Good morning, everyone. It's Yvonne DeVita with the Lipstick Ink Society. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Yvonne. And this is something new that I'm doing with Lipstick Ink Society. I want to talk to as many of the dynamic women I know that are out there getting things done. So for the audience, I want them to know a little bit about you. You're a traveler. You're always traveling and getting things done for your business. You're a speaker. We've had you speak at Blog Pause, the pet community that I run also, and everybody loved you because you're so dynamic. And you're an innovator. To me, you're an innovator. I love what you're doing with women in the pet industry. I especially love the Woman of the Year. And that's what I want to talk about. I know. I'm a finalist. How cool is that? Now, the exciting thing for me is from the Blog Pause perspective, my team. I've got Carol, she's a finalist. Robbie, she's a finalist. Chloe, my daughter, she's a finalist. And I'm a finalist. And I mean, we couldn't be more excited. But I want you to tell me a little bit more about this Woman of the Year in the pet industry. I mean, why did you do it? What came to your brain and said, I'm going to start something called Women of the Year in the pet industry?
Well, it was kind of interesting. And first of all, women who nominate themselves, and I like women to nominate themselves. And so it's all about the story. We have independent judges. And so these are business people that aren't in the pet industry. So we have judges that are non-related, but they're looking for the qualities that make a woman stand out in her business. Yeah. And usually that's the giving, the growing, and the connecting, which is our philosophies. But it also shows the fact that the Blog Pause team writes well. You've obviously inspired them. I mean, you write well because it's not just having a great story as a woman. And I might mention that for all of the people listening to this. It's being able to share your story well. Yeah. And so we all have got great stories. I mean, when you actually sit and talk to somebody, you realize, oh my God, that woman is crazy great. But she doesn't come across crazy great because she doesn't know how. So writing is one way. And so I think you guys do a great job with that. But I was looking inside the pet industry of how I could make a difference. And I was doing pet industry TV, and I was thinking I would give help with, for people because I do executive coaching. And I ended up talking to all these women who were involved with the original Women in the Pet Industry Association, which I ultimately bought, threw away, and restarted. Yes. And it was a guy who said, why aren't you the one doing Pet Industry Woman of the Year? It was a guy. And he goes, you know what?
Isn't that interesting?
It is amazing interesting. And here's the way he thought, and that I loved. The product people have, the product people and the retailer of the year and the best groomers and the competitions. But there wasn't one in the entire industry that really dealt with a businesswoman thinking. How are you doing innovative things? So I couldn't be more happy.
Well, I know. The part that's resonating inside with me is the story and the fact that people should learn how to write well. And that's a core purpose of Lipstick Ink Society. It's to help women tell the story and get the words out there, creating power content and knowing how to write the right one paragraph of who you are. It's so important to know the words and know the paragraph structure, and they don't teach that in school. So that's a core part of what we're about. But it's very interesting that a man is the one who talked to you about this. And the other thing about Lipstick Ink Society that I tell people, it's not just for and about women. It's about the men they work with and the men who love them also. Because we have fathers, we have brothers, we have husbands, we have friends or mentors, and they're men. So it's about being in the business landscape together. But the focus for us, you and I, is women and the stories women can tell. So interestingly, when we think of Woman of the Year, I think you're right. We think of what are the accomplishments, what have they gotten done, where are they going? And it's very compelling to me that you have outside judges. Talk to me about why you did that.
Well, one of the things, two reasons. I thought it would be more fair. There is no lobbying. We don't announce who our judges are. I usually ask some of my past winners to provide business mentors of theirs. That's where we come from. Or people that I know that are in other industries because I do executive coaching in any industry. So I have a vast network. And so I can tap some of these people to be my judges. And one of the reasons I wanted that is because I don't know about you, but I am completely done with vote for me, vote for me.
Know. It's just horrible because it accomplishes nothing.
No, and it makes you feel pressured. And so you get a lot of votes. It just means that you're more savvy, or you hire somebody in India, or I don't know. The point is, we wanted it to be fair. We wanted it to be business focused, and it's a math problem for us. So the judges don't know each other. Nobody knows who the judges are. They go in and they read the profiles of the women and they judge them on a scale of 1 to 100. So since there's no lobbying, no judges talk to each other. It's a math problem. It seems the fairest thing that we could possibly do. So, but I have to say that the people who have the best stories, like I had a woman email me and say, I have been in business. I'm doing amazing things. I can't believe I didn't make finalist. So since I don't read any of them, I have nothing to do with any of it. So until the finalists are selected, I completely stay away. So I went in though, and I read her deal. Someone had submitted for her. She didn't submit herself. And on every question, when it says, what has she done for the industry or whatever, it would go, she's really done a lot. That was the nomination.
Exactly.
And nobody knows your story like you know. So ladies, here's what I got to tell you. All the lipsticking society that's listening right now. Number one, nobody's selling you but you. I mean, if you're waiting for somebody to come and whisk you away, not going to happen. Now, maybe in a 1%, but generally speaking, figure it out and know your story. You're brilliant. You're amazing. You have to be able to say it. If you don't say it, no one will find you.
No one's going to hear it, right? You need it. So compelling, and this is why I wanted to talk to you today, Shawna, because the power and the purpose that most women have when they start a business gets to be a burden if they aren't learning how to tell that story, because here they're going to all these networking events, and all the way to the networking event they're going, I don't know what I'm going to say. Let me practice my elevator pitch, and all of the things that are going to end up making a knot in their stomach. So like you, I want them to be so comfortable with that story and be so comfortable talking about themselves in power language that all the way to the networking event, all they're thinking about is, I need to meet this person and this person and this person. And I can't wait to hear their story. So in the end, it's also about listening.
And I think that's the biggest thing, Yvonne, if we're going to do a content-rich help thing. Number one, know your story. But number two, be able to tell it. And that's both in writing and speaking it. But number three, it really is about stepping up and saying, I'm valuable. Why would someone nominate? You nominated. Everybody at the Blog Pause did. So it's being around people who say, step up, step up. But then along with that, even though we're saying all of this, I have found it to be more successful, at least for me, when I actually stop and say, my elevator pitch is not about me.
Yes.
My elevator pitch is what I do for others.
Yes.
So even though it's about me, it's about what I do for them. So it's not like, I am the greatest. I mean, that is sort of like Muhammad Ali. I want to be the greatest. I work towards being the greatest, but my greatness comes from how many women I push up.
Exactly. So in the end, when I think about being a finalist, I think about all the women that I've connected with through the pet industry, and I think about what I can do for them. So I get emails every day, like you probably do, from women that have a question or two and they don't know who else to ask. The funny thing is they're writing it to Blog Pause. They don't realize it's coming to my email address. And so I respond to them and my signature is there, and they're just blown away, and they're like, I didn't know you were going to receive this and answer this. And, and to date, I can still do that. I mean, I can see in some huge companies where that wouldn't happen, but that's what I love about being at Blog Pause. And that's what I want to keep when I'm working in the Lipsticking Society. I want to keep that connection. So exactly what you're saying, the connections that we make and the ways that we can help others. I was on an interview a few weeks ago, And they said, so before we sign off, what are the 3 things that you recommend people do? And the interview was about reinventing yourself. And women do that on a regular basis. They just don't realize it. Right. So, I'm telling them, you have to get out there, you have to network, find a mentor. By the way, help other people. Right. Find a way to help a couple of other people, because the more you help someone else, the more successful you will be. And I agree. I mean, that's what we do, Shawna, you and I.
Well, I agree. You're a role model to me as well. Now, before we get off, I know that this is coffee, although I'm actually having tea.
Okay. I'm having iced coffee today. It's so hot. My air conditioning is out.
Uh-oh. But you look fabulous. You're not melting at all. One of the things that I did want to make a mention that would be beneficial that I hear a lot is, even though I'm helping a lot of people and I get that, the ones I like to help the most are ones that are helping themselves. And so I'm just going to make a caveat, because I think that women need to hear this. And so since you have such a platform with lipsticking, is to be able to say, I'll get a woman who goes, I just joined the network and I need help with this and I want to email everyone. And I'm like, okay, girlfriend, you know what I mean? You need to stop, because you just want to throw up on us. Or they're like, tell me all about women in the pet industry network. And I'm thinking to myself, we're online. Are you lazy that you don't go online and figure out what the heck? Why should I tell you everything I don't need to sell you. You need to know what you need. Yeah. And so I want to make sure that I'm loving to everyone, but every so often I get just a teeny bit irritated with the women who are expecting. And bloggers sometimes, I was talking to them, they're like that. They're like, well, I'm the blogger. People should do things for me. No.
Absolutely.
We need to come with due diligence. We actually do our research. Number 2, if we're going to ask somebody to talk with us, have a couple questions. I mean, when can I take you to lunch and pick your brain? No. Yeah. You can't.
Not unless you can,
you can call me. Yeah, well, and I don't even need the cash. I need them to actually be prepared, because my time is the most important thing to me.
And so is theirs, and they don't know it. And I agree. I so agree. When I receive an email from someone who does the same, they tell me a little bit about Blog Post. Why should I join Blog Post? Right. And I look at it and I say to myself, this is a digital world we live in. I have a really extensive website. I have a community that you can join. You have to be approved. And that's because we want real, honest to goodness people in it. So I don't write back. I really don't. Those are emails where I write and encourage them to join the community and make friends. And that's all they're going to get. Or I'll send it to Robbie, because she manages some of those emails for me. And she'll write to them and she'll tell them, join the community and friend me and I'll introduce you to people. And that's the way to do it. But it does. I agree. It gets very frustrating with mostly women. I don't necessarily get this from men. I get a lot of emails to lipsticking from men that want me to publish their content, and they're extensive. They've looked at the site. They write and say, hey, Yvonne, and I'm savvy enough to know they just want free marketing. So we might discuss how to make that happen. But in the end, like you say, some of the women, and I don't fault them too hard. What I want them to do is sit back and say, what is my due diligence? What do I do first before I write to Shawna, before I write to Yvonne? What are the things that I need answers to that maybe they can at least direct me where I need to go? That is key.
Yvonne, and what we're doing right now is helping them. In other words, they don't know, they don't know.
Yeah.
And so us having this conversation, and I'm not irritated with them either. You have to love them through it, because I was there one time myself. And I showed up. Matter of fact, I just wrote a blog about it. I showed up at a business, and a boyfriend told me to swing by, and I just showed up. No resume, no appointment. And the woman was so lovely. She says, what can I do to help you? Of course I didn't know. I'm like, yeah. And she goes, I tell you what, here's how gracious she was. Go figure it out. I think we could use your talents. And I'm going to tell you, I wrote a program for her. I did all the research. She paid me nothing. What a smart woman.
But
Yeah, she took the time with me.
But she
However,
also saw something in you.
Yes, but I don't want to be irritated, but we're doing a big service right now. If everybody listening to this says, wow, I think I've done that, I'm just going to do my due diligence before I call Yvonne or Shawna or anyone and say, I have 3 questions I want to ask you. Yeah. You got 3 questions for me? I'll answer them. But don't go.
Exactly.
Tell me how you started.
I got an email not too long ago. A young woman wanted to write for us. And the email wasn't great because she didn't use my name. And she said she read the blog and she knew all about my market and my audience and she had great content for it. And I just looked at it. I actually wrote a blog post about it myself and said, what's wrong with this? I didn't put her name. I didn't put any identifying information. But in the end, I did write back to her. And I said, you write well. This is a nicely written pitch, but here's what's wrong with it. And if you want to work with us down the road, you can reconnect with me in 6 months. But, like you, if I see a little thread or a little something in there, I do want to nurture it. I don't necessarily have the time to sit down and consult or coach, but I want them to know, yes, I read your email.
Yeah. No, so and that's all we can do. So we did a good service today, to let people know that, yes, I think we did. Look at us. Wait, I'm not going to hurt myself patting myself on the back.
Well, listen, tell us now before we sign off, tell us Woman of the Year is part of the conference. So tell us the conference, where it is, the dates, and then make sure we know where to get in touch with you online.
All right. Thank you, Yvonne. And by the way, one of the crazy things, and you've been there, so the conference is a crazy, great thing. And it's small. And I think partly I'm thinking I want to keep it that way. And I know the people who come don't mind because we do things so unusual in that we sit down. It's not about just building your business. It's about the connecting that happens within multiple categories of the business. Mm-hmm. So unlike the Blog Post Conference, which is over the top great, and you're all bloggers, you all have this common thread. We have groomers and bloggers and merchandisers and retailers. And so it's how do you sit across from the table and share your needs? And somebody will have an idea and there's no competition. It's like, well, this is what I do in my retail store. And somebody's going, I could use that. So it's just a crazy great conference. It's August 13th, 14th, and 15th of 2015. Mm-hmm. It's in beautiful Portland, Oregon. And if you're going to be in anywhere in the world, Portland, Oregon, no, low humidity, not that hot, just nice.
It's so nice.
Yeah. And it's just one of those conferences that you have to experience to really get the energy. Wouldn't you agree to that? It's kind of crazy.
It is. And I think that as a conference for women, you hit the nail on the head. Being smaller allows us to get to know each other. There's nothing more important than building that relationship. And you cannot build a relationship if you're rushing here and rushing there. I love that we get to sit down and we get to actually talk with each other. And the diversity, the variety of representatives of different parts of the pet industry. Interestingly enough, the world doesn't know how many of us are out there and the great work we do. So, people need to come to the Women in the Pet Industry Conference in Portland, Oregon, August 13th, 14th, 15th, and meet Shawna and meet me and meet all the other finalists. But, and meet all of the women who will be there because each one of them has something to offer, no matter what you're looking for. And I bet whoever's listening here, I bet you have something you could offer us. So, check it out. Where can they find out information, Shawna?
Yes. Everything's online. We just talked about that, due diligence. The website is womeninthepetindustry.com. That's easy. It's a new site and we're just rocking it. Myself is Shawna at womeninthepetindustry.com. You can always give me a call as well. I'm at 503-970-5774. I still pick up my phone or answer my, voice messages. And so now remember, only call me if you have real pointed questions.
Yes, for sure. Well, Shawna, thank you for being on Morning Coffee with Yvonne at the Lipsticking Society. And I hope we can do more of these down the road.
I hope so too. And bravo, good luck on finalists. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. Hopefully everybody will come so they can see whether or not, somebody from Blog Pause does something. I don't know.
Yeah, and take lots of pictures. Yay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.